Welcome everyone to another episode of G and Heza. You're joined with your hosts G and Heza, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of participatory media. From citizen journalism to user-generated content, participatory media has revolutionised the way we create, consume and engage with information.
To kick things off, let's start by defining participatory media. It's a term that encompasses a wide range of activities where the audience is actively involved in the creation and dissemination of content. Whether it's through social media platforms, blogs, podcasts, or even collaborative storytelling, participatory media democratizes the production of information.
Through this project, I've become quite the expert on participatory media. Participatory media is basically all about breaking down traditional barriers and giving people the tools to share their stories, opinions, and experiences. It's about fostering a more inclusive and diverse media landscape.
It's fascinating to see how participatory media has evolved over the years, from the early days of online forums to the explosion of user-generated content on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. The landscape has transformed significantly. Henry, can you share some of your reading and your research on participatory media and arts practices?
One of the readings I looked at that really supported my contribution to our form of participatory media was particularly Culture in the Digital Age.
What key information did you take away from this reading, and how do you think it was reflected through your work?
This reading basically covered how being involved in something and taking part with others has become both environmental and normative. The reading tells us that participation is a part of everyday life and always has been, in terms of allowing a growing number of people to access, modify, store, circulate and share media content. This is what gave us the inspiration to make a video of inclusion of audience.
Yes, I totally see why that would have influenced you. I looked at a similar reading named The Ladders to Participatory Media, and this basically compared how citizen participation in government is like eating spinach. Something everyone agrees is good. In theory, it's vital for democracy, but support drops when minority groups want a fair share of power. The author says citizen participation is just a fancy term for citizen power, giving marginalised people a say in decision-making. They stress the difference between symbolic participation and actual power sharing, highlighting the need for the ladder for meaningful change. The text criticises empty participation that doesn't lead to power shifts, drawing parallels with some community programmes.
Have you seen many examples of this in the media today?
Well, actually, before this module, I hadn't actually had the knowledge to be able to recognise the form of participatory media. However, now after taking this module, I now know that I have actually been exposed to participatory media many of times in the past. Without joint collaboration from communities and the active involvement in striding towards an end goal, change can't be made.
I know exactly what you mean. Do you have any examples of this?
Well, one notable example of participatory media in the realm of video is the KONY 2012 campaign. KONY 2012 was a short film created by the non-profit organisation Invisible Children, released in March 2012. The video aimed to raise awareness about Joseph Kony, the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, and his crimes, including the child abduction and use of child soldiers in Central Africa.
Oh wow, that sounds really interesting. What did this video contain?
Well, for starters, the video encouraged viewers to become actively involved by sharing it on social media, particularly through platforms like Facebook and Twitter using the hashtag KONY2012.
That sounds exactly like the campaign I had in mind. Do you remember the Black Lives Matter movement, which was fueled by the hashtag Black Lives Matter?
Yes, of course I do. I'm still seeing the hashtag in campaign today.
Yes, exactly. For the listeners unaware of this movement, the movement effectively utilised the hashtag Black Lives Matter, across social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. The hashtag served as a rallying point for individuals to share their thoughts, experiences and information related to racial injustice. This is a significant example of how participatory media is key for forming communities.
And also how the hashtag can serve as a catalyst for participatory media, enabling widespread engagement, activism and the formation of a global community advocating for social change.
Yes, exactly. The participatory media video from the Black Lives Matter movement also greatly inspired our video, didn't it?
It did indeed. The video included a montage of a range of self-made videos describing the inequalities for the black community still occurring in society today. These were both primary and second accounts and ultimately raised awareness of the matter to audiences whilst actively enforcing a fight for change.
I found this video very moving, and with such a large number of participants, it truly shows how vital making a change for the matter is.
And as well as that, it shows how participatory media can be powerful. The participatory nature of the Black Lives Matter movement extended its reach globally. People from various countries participated in discussions, shared information, and organised local events, demonstrating the movement's impact on a global scale.
And the hashtag is still used today.
Exactly. So, with this in mind, we decided to base our project on a template similar, including self-made videos from individuals around Europe.
Whoa. You haven't introduced our project to our listeners yet.
Oh, yes. How silly of me. Sorry, guys. I was getting ahead of myself. Our project surrounded the topic of COVID-19 and the long-lasting mental and physical effects still experienced by students like ourselves, in addition to all other generations.
And to all of you thinking COVID has been and gone, this video is for you.
What a great way to put it, Henry. So, shall we start off by saying what and who our video involved?
Of course. So, listeners, our video included a range of videos sent in from locations such as England, Wales and France.
And these people knew about our project through various emails, messages and Instagram stories that we put out to the public ourselves.
Too right. I was amazed by the amount of participants we had.
So was I. The power of social media, eh?
Hey, back to our project. These participants described their experience in lockdown and how they are still affected today.
Alongside many others who are still suffering from mental and physical effects today, did you know that 38% of people still suffer from mental or physical effects from COVID today?
Well, yes, but not until we started this project.
Yeah, that is fair enough. We can't leave out the key drive of our video, though, which is the help that Amelia Trust Fund provides to young people that were greatly impacted by COVID.
And as well as that, the support that the British Red Cross Foundation provides for all ages following COVID.
Yes. The key message to come from this video was that there is help out there to any of you seeking support post-lockdown, and that support is right in front of you.
And with the use of participatory media, those watching the video know that they are not alone at this time.
If any of our listeners are experiencing these struggles, check out our video or go straight to the Amelia Trust Farm or British Red Cross websites for support.
Great point, Georgia. Listeners, you are not alone.
And to start on a new note, should we dive into what we both carried out through this project?
We shall. I'll go first. I conducted research for our project through social media. I made an Instagram poll to scope who would be interested in participating and what they would be willing to contribute. When we began video editing, I offered ideas to ensure the project came together as we planned.
And that was great. I focused on the creation of our website, ensuring that it was viewer-friendly and shared the right message of accessible support for those struggling with mental and physical effects after COVID-19. I also took on the role of a networker where I came into contact with organisations such as Amelia Trust Farm and the British Red Foundation to receive facts and figures regarding the effects of COVID-19, the individuals seeking support and how this can be implemented through our project.
All in all, I think our project was a success.
Me too. We had a lot of participants and our message was well projected.
It was, and on that note, we shall look at the quote, "Participation is power."
Yes, and it is. Is that the quote from Kelty?
It is. Go ahead and tell our listeners your thoughts on this.
Well, listeners, for starters, participation in media creation allows individuals and communities to have a direct hand in shaping narratives, expressing their perspectives, and telling their own stories.
That's true, and there are a large amount of strengths when it comes to participation. However, have you heard of slacktivism?
No, actually, I haven't. What is that?
Well, it refers to individuals engaging in minimal, low-effort activities online without necessarily contributing a tangible, real-world change.
I didn't think of it like that. So that raises questions about the actual impact of participation on power dynamics.
It does, and it's very easy to partake in trends online, yet when it comes to real-world change, these individuals are nowhere to be seen.
I can think of a few people that would come under that term.
And so can I. I'm just going to roll with the negatives. Participation may not always translate into equal power for all. Do you want to guess why?
I have an idea, but go on, you explain.
So, not everyone has equal access to digital technologies and the internet. The digital dive can worsen existing socio-economic disparities, limiting the ability of certain groups to participate fully in participatory media.
I was on the lines of that.
I bet you were, haha. Now, before we move on to positives, would you like to go off with more disadvantages of participation?
Well, off the top of my head, all I can really think of is the risk of exploitation when vulnerable communities are involved without adequate safeguards and considerations.
Perfect example. I actually read an article on something like that not too long ago. Let me try and think of the name of it. It was written by The Medium, but I can't think of the name. Listeners, if you'd like to read this article, I'll leave it in the description for you when posting this podcast.
Well done. Right, positives. There are a lot.
Of course there are.
By encouraging widespread participation, it democratizes the production process, giving ordinary people the opportunity to be content creators rather than passive consumers.
Yes, and participation in media projects fosters a sense of community and shared identity.
And that essentially strengthens social bonds, promotes dialogue, and builds solidarity around common concerns.
All aspects which our project actually included, don't you think?
Totally. Our project was all about giving our participants the power of sharing their own experiences during lockdown and how they overcame them.
Some of those videos were emotional to see, weren't they?
Very. It's just unbelievable that so many people have gone through the same thing.
Well, what do you expect when the whole world is confined to just 4 walls of their house?
Yeah, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Anyways, despite the amount of negative, I do believe participation is power.
I'd have to agree with you on that one. Forming a community with an agenda to fight for change is the first step in making the change happen.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
And I think that is all the time we have left.
Okay, so thank you everyone so much for listening. And remember, participation is power. Get involved and make it count.
Remember to like, subscribe, and tune in next week for our discussion on climate change. See you next week.
Bye.